The second book in this series, Stories of Virtue, is about cooperation. And the title is Stone Soup. Look, he has his salt, pepper shaker, a spoon, and what's down here? Yes, the soup. The hungry traveler had been roaming the countryside for a long time, and he had not eaten a good meal in quite a while. One day the traveler spotted a lovely village off in the distance. The hungry traveler became very excited and said to himself, I'm bound to find someone in this village who will share a meal with me. As the traveler hurried to the town, he tripped over a stone in the road. The stone was not like any that the traveler had ever seen before. It was perfectly smooth and oval in shape. So where is that stone? There it is, right down there. So it's perfectly oval in shape. See down the path? There's the village. The traveler looked at the stone carefully and decided he would keep it. You never know when a stone like this might come in handy, he said. Then the traveler happily headed to the village. His empty stomach grumbled as he walked. When the traveler arrived in the village, things did not go as well as he had hoped. He stopped at a few houses, but no one had any food to share. Oh, look, it looks like Mrs. Cow's house. Look down here, it's the boots. He has his hat off and he's talking to her. There's a bag of something up here, but it looks like potatoes. One house the traveler came to was very quiet. All the doors and windows were closed and the shades were drawn. The traveler began to think that no one was home. Finally, a maid appeared in the doorway. Can you spare some food? The traveler asked her. I have been traveling for days and I'm very hungry. I'm sorry, but I have only a few potatoes, the maid said. There's not enough to share or spare or share. Why don't you try my neighbor next door? I already have, said the traveler, but he is very grumpy and he just slammed the door. It looks like I'm finding some food in the village will be more difficult than I thought. Still, the hungry traveler refused to give up. The traveler visited every house in the village, but no one had enough food to spare or share. At one house, there was only cabbage. The next had only carrots, and a third only had salt and pepper. Yep, that was for potatoes right there. So no one had a lot to share, did they? Since there was no food for the hungry traveler, he decided to move on. Before he got very far, the traveler began to feel tired. He decided to get some rest in the cool shade of a tree just outside the village. As he sat under the tree, the traveler looked back at the quiet little town. It's a shame, he thought. Such a nice village. It's such a beautiful day, but nobody is outdoors visiting. Let's see. Look at the village. There's no people outside. Then the traveler reached into his bag. There's his big brown bag right there. And took out the smooth oval stone that he found earlier in the day. As he sat admiring the stone, the traveler suddenly had a brilliant idea. The traveler ran back to the village and shouted, Come out of your houses, everybody. I have a magic stone, and it will give us enough food for a wonderful meal. Everyone in town will have plenty to eat, and there will even be enough to spare and share. One by one, the curious villagers peeked out of the doors and the windows. The grumpy villager who slammed the door on the traveler earlier looked out of his window and shouted, "What's all the racket about?" See, there he is. "Come, help me make a pot of delicious stone soup," said the traveler. The maid stepped out of her house as two excited children ran up to the traveler. "Is that your stomach I hear growling?" one child said. There's little animals, the little children. And there she is. She's stepping out of her door. "I've got one that you can use," said the big grumpy villager. "Oh, let's go back to this up here." It says, "Is that your stomach I hear growling?" one child asked. "Yes," the other replied. "I'm very hungry. Does anybody have a large soup kettle to get this started?" The traveler asked. "I've got one that you can use," said the big grumpy villager, "but I don't think it will do any good. I don't think your magic stone will really work." "I guess we'll find out soon enough," said one lady. "I certainly hope he can make soup out of a stone. I haven't had good soup in a long time." The grumpy villager brought out his large kettle and placed it on a pile of sticks for the fire. And there's the large kettle right there. "Don't worry," said the traveler. There will be plenty." The traveler placed a smooth oval stone into the kettle of water and began to stir. After a little while, he tasted the soup. "Not bad," the traveler said, "but I think I could use some salt and pepper and perhaps a potato." "I've got some salt and pepper," said the young ladies. "I'll run home and get it." The maid added her potatoes, and once again the traveler stirred the pot. When he tasted again, all the villagers watched with anticipation. "This is very good, but it would taste even better with some carrots and cabbage," said the traveler. Then the young lady ran home to get some carrots, and a little girl ran home to get her cabbage. So there's she's coming with the carrots, and she has her cabbage. By now, everyone was having so much fun. Even the big grumpy villager was no longer grumpy. "Let's make this a party," he shouted. Finally, the traveler announced that the stone soup was ready. He filled all the bowls, and the villagers began to eat. Afterward, there was plenty of soup left over. "There's enough to spare and share," said the young lady. The villagers were so happy after dinner that they did not want the evening to end. They started playing music together and dancing with one another. At last, the village was alive with chatter and laughter. "I didn't know you could play the banjo," the maid said to the big villager. "I didn't know you could play the washboard," he responded. "I think there was a lot we didn't know until the traveler came along," said the maid. See, he's playing his banjo here, and she's playing the washboard. So you usually you can wash clothes like that. Now look at if you can see down here. There's a ladybug doing the ladybug dance. The next morning, the traveler said goodbye to his friends in the village, and it was time for him to leave and travel somewhere new. "I want you to have this," the traveler said as he handed the smooth oval stone to the villagers. Now you will always be able to make stone soup together, and you will never be hungry or sad or grumpy again." Each of the villagers hugged the traveler. "Come back and visit us again," said the maid. You are always welcome," said the big villager. They were all very grateful, and they all hoped to see the kind traveler again. As the traveler headed out of the village, he stumbled over another stone in the road. He picked it up at once and admired its jagged edges. The traveler looked at the stone carefully and finally decided to keep it. "You never know when a stone like this might come in handy," he said to himself as he placed it in his big bag. So as he was walking, put the stone in his bag. And they were all waving back. They're all waving. What made that soup good? What was it? Yeah, she had some potatoes. He had the big pot. They brought carrots and cabbage. It was really good. Look very closely right here. You can see the ladybugs right there on the leaves. So cooperation, this word right up here, cooperation. Cooperation means working with others to get things done. The hungry traveler used the stone to show the villagers how to cooperate. When the traveler came to town, the villagers had a little bit of food, but not enough for an entire meal. The traveler helped the villagers work together to make a delicious soup. And when they cooperated, the villagers found they had plenty of food for everyone. Cooperation can make difficult things easy, and it can also be lots of fun. The villagers learned that it is easy to make friends when you cooperate. Cooperation and stone soup. And for more books and resources, just go to homeschoolforlife.org.